The Book of Disquiet by Fernando, Pessoa, Section 131. Since I have nothing to do and nothing to think about doing, I'm going to describe my ideal on this sheet of paper. Note, the sensibility of Mallarmé in the style of Vieira, to dream like Verlaine in the body of Horace, to be Homer in the moonlight, to feel everything in every way, to be able to think with the emotions and feel with the mind, not to desire much, except with the imagination, to suffer with haughtiness, to see clearly so as to write accurately, to know oneself through diplomacy and dissimulation, to become naturalized as a different person, with all the necessary documents, in short, to use all sensations, but only on the inside, peeling them all down to God, and then wrapping everything up again and putting it back in the shop window, like the sales assistant I can see from here with the small tins of a new brand of shoe polish. All these ideals, possible or impossible, now end. Now I face reality, which isn't even the salesperson whom I don't see, only his hand. The absurd tentacle of a soul with a family and a fate, and it twists like a spider without a web, while putting back tins of polish in the window. And one of the tins fell, like the fate of us all. Section 132. The more I contemplate the spectacle of the world and the ever-changing state of things, the more profoundly I'm convinced of the inherent fiction of everything, of the false importance exhibited by all realities. And in this contemplation, which has occurred to all thinking souls at one time or another, the colorful parade of customs and fashions, the complex path of civilizations and progress, the grandiose commotion of empires and cultures, all of this strikes me as a myth and a fiction, dreamed among shadows and ruins. But I'm not sure whether the supreme resolution of all these dead intentions, dead even when achieved, lies in the ecstatic resignation of the Buddha, who, once he understood the emptiness of things, stood up from his ecstasy, saying, "Now I know everything." Or, in the jaded indifferences of the Emperor Severus, "Omnia fui nihil expedit." I have been everything. Nothing's worth the trouble. Section 133. The world, a dunghill of instinctive forces that nevertheless shines in the sun with pale shades of light and dark gold. The way I see it, plagues, storms, and wars are products of the same blind force, sometimes operating through unconscious microbes, sometimes through unconscious waters and thunderbolts, and sometimes through unconscious men. For me, the difference between an earthquake and a massacre is like the difference between murdering with a knife and murdering with a dagger. The monster immanent in things, for the sake of his own good or his own evil, which are apparently indifferent to him, is equally served by the shifting of a rock on a hilltop or by the stirring of envy or greed in a heart. The rock falls and kills a man. Greed or envy prompts an arm, and the arm kills a man. Such is the world, a dunghill of instinctive forces that nevertheless shines in the sun with pale shades of light and dark gold. To oppose the brutal indifference that constitutes the manifest essence of things, the mystics discovered it was best to renounce, to deny the world, to turn our backs on it, as on a swamp at whose edge we suddenly find ourselves standing, to deny, like the Buddha, its absolute reality, to deny, like Christ, its relative reality, to deny. All I asked of life is that it ask nothing of me, At the door of the cottage I never had, I sat in the sunlight that never fell there, and I enjoyed the future old age of my tired reality, glad that I hadn't arrived there yet. To still not have died is enough for life's wretches. To still have hope. Satisfied with dreams only when I'm not dreaming, satisfied with the world only when I'm dreaming far away from it. A swinging pendulum back and forth, forever moving to arrive nowhere, eternally captive to the twin fatality of a center and a useless motion. Section 134. I seek and I don't find myself. I belong to the chrysanthemum hours, neatly lined up in flower pots. God made my soul to be a decorative object. I don't know what overly pompous and selective details define my temperament. If I love the ornamental, it must be because I sense something there that's identical to the substance of my soul. Section 135. The simplest, truly simplest things, which nothing can make semi-simple, become complex when I live them. To wish someone a good day sometimes intimidates me. My voice gets caught, as if there were a strange audacity in saying these words out loud. It's a kind of squeamishness about existing. There's no other way to put it. The constant analysis of our sensations creates a new way of feeling, which seems artificial to those who only analyze with the intellect, and not with the sensation itself. All my life, I have been metaphysically glib, serious at playing around. I haven't done anything seriously, however much I may have wanted to. A mischievous destiny had fun with me. To have emotions made of chintz or of silk or of brocade, to have emotions that could be described like that, to have describable emotions. I feel in my soul a divine regret for everything, a choked and sobbing grief for the condemnation of dreams in the flesh of those who dreamed. I hate without hatred all the poets who wrote verses, all the idealists who saw their ideals take shape, all those who obtained what they wanted. I haphazardly roam the calm streets, walking until my body is as tired as my soul, grieved to the point of that old and familiar grief that likes to be felt, pitying itself with an indefinable maternal compassion set to music. Sleep. To fall asleep, to have peace, to be an abstract consciousness that's conscious only of breathing peacefully, without a world, without heavens, without a soul, a dead sea of emotion reflecting an absence of stars. Section 136. The burden of feeling, the burden of having to feel. Section 137. The hypersensitivity of my feelings, or perhaps merely of their expression, or perhaps more accurately, of the intelligence which lies between the former and the latter, and which forms from my wish to express the fictitious emotion that exists only to be expressed. Perhaps it's just the machine in me that reveals who I'm not.